It's
And
just kind of
welcome.
froze. How's it going, guys? And welcome to our heads. What's up, Otis? You got something for us?
Can someone explain to me this bank collapse, please?
Oh,
It's
So
all like, is it like crypto? What is it? A physical bank? Is it a bank that deals with like apps and tech companies?
it's a regular bank.
hmm
Silicon Valley Bank is a regional. It's what's classified as a regional bank, and there I don't know the details. It's all like shit that I've learned in the past 4 days, 5 days, basically. Learned this as people were talking about it. It's a regional bank. It should have been subjected to stricter standards for like how much stress they could tolerate per the 2010 Dodd-Frank banking law, but in 2018 under the Trump administration they lowered the standards that some banks had to meet, and regional banks like SVB were within that threshold, so they were no longer subjected to regular stress tests by the Fed. Whereas like big banks like Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, the FDIC or the Fed, one of them, somebody comes in and like puts them through their paces and says, okay, well, what if this happens? Are you still good?
Right.
And then they have like certain levels, like how they have to hold their assets that again, SVB kind of slid under the radar. What the thing was with SVB was that they had, for most banks, you have like a wide variety of depositors, and most of those depositors will be under the $250,000 threshold that the FDIC insures for. Because SVB was very tied into the Silicon Valley startup scene, though, they had a narrower base of, say, like can't speak to like the number of their customers, but who their customers were was very concentrated in that tech sector. And because they were a lot of startups where basically all you have is cash and, not much revenue yet because you're new, they had a lot of money in the bank, above $250,000 in many cases. So when the bank unwound, they were not immediately guaranteed by the FDIC. And why they unwound was just a bunch of tech nerds talking to each other, because that's, similar to like the comedy Silicon Valley, which is a great show, one of my favorites.
I agree.
It is a pretty closed loop in that community. It's not like everybody knows everybody, but you're a few steps removed if you're, a venture capitalist or somebody who's worked in a lot of startups at like a managerial level. You are a few steps removed from knowing everybody of importance. So they got together in a group chat one day last week and decided all together that the situation over there was kind of wobbly. And the reason for that is a bit beyond me. It has something to do with specifically what assets the bank was investing in to have a short-term cash flow. And those assets got sunk by the increased interest rates of the past year. Not like completely destroyed, but just the line wasn't going up quite the right way. So the bank felt that they had to start selling some of the assets that they held. And because this handful of very savvy depositors were aware of that, they all got it in their heads that, hey, this bank might be going under. And so they made the bank go under. Because they all panicked and started drawing money.
Right.
Then the bank no longer had
bank
the
run.
cash to cover withdrawals.
So did regular people lose their money? I mean, are they?
No. So
Nobody.
So there's
It was insured, or
it was not insured, but
the government stepped in?
the government did step in, but I don't know if you could call it a bailout.
It's
Yeah,
not.
I
I
don't
heard
I don't
Biden
think
was talking about
they
it.
bailed out. They're not in business anymore. They're liquidated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, they were run out, or yeah. I don't know that they're gonna need to find a seller for them.
no, the
The
FDIC absorbs it and then
Mm.
just holds on to it unless someone wants to take the toxic assets.
And what about
Um,
people that had like their mortgages and car loans through that bank? Do that?
those will always be serviced. There's always going to be people buying, you know, distressed like loans like that. I mean,
It's not
I've
even that the loans were distressed. Their loans were fine. It was what they were
it's
investing in or something that
well
had.
once the loan comes from a broken institution, it's considered a distressed loan that is
Mm,
technically a toxic asset.
regardless of like how healthy it within itself
Yeah,
is.
you could be part of that loan and you've been paying every month, but you know the bank that's carrying you goes under, and now you're a bad loan.
Stress.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah, because like the FDIC isn't funded by taxpayer money. The I standing for insurance, it is paid for by the banks
by the
who,
banks.
yeah, the only difference between the FDIC and regular insurance company is a bank has no choice. You have to be insured by the FDIC, but it's the same setup. You pay money in, you get money out when you need it, but the FDIC doesn't need to turn a profit, so they're not screwing you.
But the government did step in though, because tech companies in Silicon Valley, each one of them are some of them, actually a lot of them are worth billions of dollars. And what they have in the Silicon Valley Bank, um, FDIC only insures 250,000 up to two hundred
Mm-hmm.
fifty thousand dollars of money. When you're a tech startup in Silicon Valley, you're making millions of dollars, or at least the money of flow. If you are worth, if you're a company that's worth, to being invested on, is millions and millions of dollars. So 250,000 is pennies
Mm-hmm.
compared to what goes through them, and that's why they went under, because it only takes not a lot of tech companies withdrawing money from a place like SVB before it tanks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So was
just
it
because of
mainly
the
a tech bank, or was it
That was
just
a
a
regular bank. They just
Okay.
happened
well,
to have a lot of tech startup
investments? Okay,
customers.
yeah, got it. Okay.
but that prompted a bank run on other banks too, like two other banks, Signature Bank, and one other that I don't remember. There was a
So
third
Signature
bank.
Bank went under too, right?
Yeah, because they had a similar experience, but not with tech companies. It's just a bank
Signature was
run.
heavily exposed to crypto. That I don't know as much about it, but that's what I heard.
And now they're thinking that Credit Suisse is gonna be next to fall, but I I I think Credit Suisse, if it does go down, will go down only because they made risky bets, and not because of a bank run, and not because of like the same reasons why these two other banks went down.
I heard about that today. Like apparently their stock has been in trouble for like a year
Yeah,
now. So they've
yeah,
been wobbling for a while and not like a sudden collapse.
right, right, right. It's like foreshadowed almost.
Mhm.
If nothing drastic changes, that's another. Well, I hope that clarifies it, Otis, because I'm not sure if we just kept rambling on and
No, yeah,
everything's
yeah.
flying through the highway above you, and
And
Layman's
will
terms,
will
yeah.
Credit Suisse have to liquidate any Nazi gold?
that's
That's what we
there's
want
so,
to know.
there's like hidden treasures in that bank. Everyone goes through them. It's wild. Oh
Yeah,
my
that's crazy.
goodness.
All
When
right,
you hear
well,
things like there's a Swiss account, that's usually
Mhm.
Credit Suisse, or I don't really know how to
right,
say it.
offshore account. Okay, well, thanks for that, guys.
Yeah, I hope you guys learned something new, and we'll see you guys on our next drop.
Later.